My name is Lauren Hayes, and if you'd glimpsed my life at last year's town hall meeting in Boise, you'd have seen a woman teetering on the edge of collapse, standing in the back of the packed community center, heart hammering against my ribs as my parents and sister claimed the microphone, basking in applause for the community garden project I'd poured my soul into, their words erasing my weekends of dirt-stained labor with a smug, "We inspired it all." Let me pull you into that stifling August evening, the air heavy with the scent of fresh-cut grass wafting through open windows and the restless murmur of neighbors shifting in creaky metal chairs. The night their brazen theft of credit revealed a betrayal that struck like a sudden Idaho hailstorm, pelting my pride. There, under the harsh fluorescent lights of the old hall, they dismissed my tireless work teaching kids to grow carrots and compost scraps as just a hobby, excluding me from the town's praise while soaking up the spotlight for a project they barely touched. A shock that flooded me with rage, hurt, and disbelief, but also kindled a quiet resolve, transforming me from the sideline volunteer who toiled in silence to a woman who reclaimed her recognition, her worth, and her legacy. 1. Time-stamped photo and bold step at a time. I was born Lauren Marie Hayes in a quiet Boise suburb, where the streets wound past golden potato fields in fall and the air carried the crisp bite of pine from the nearby Boise foothills, a backdrop to my childhood dreams. Our family home was a cozy two-story craftsman with a wraparound porch, its paint peeling but warm, where Mom would sip chamomile tea on summer evenings, watching the sunset paint the sky in hues of pink and orange over the distant mountains. My parents, Tom and Karen Hayes, were quintessential Idahoans, Dad a mechanic at a local garage, his hands perpetually greased from fixing tractors and pickups, coming home to share stories of his farm boy days in Nampa over plates of meatloaf. Mom a part-time librarian at the Boise Public Library downtown, her days spent shelving books and recommending Judy Blume to wide-eyed kids, her evenings tending a backyard plot of tomatoes, zucchini, and lavender that filled our home with earthy scents. We weren't rich, dinners were often casseroles, grilled cheese with tomato soup, or whatever Dad bartered from farmers at work. Holidays meant potlucks with neighbors bringing apple pies and elk chili. Vacations were camping trips to McCall, where we'd fish in Payette Lake and sleep under stars, but community wove us together, warm as the patchwork quilts Mom stitched from old flannel shirts. I was the middle child, sandwiched between my older brother Jake, the football star who dreamed of college scholarships, and my younger sister Emily, the outgoing charmer who could talk her way into or out of anything. From age 6, I found my joy in the earth, helping Mom weed the garden, planting marigold seeds that bloomed into golden bursts, feeling the cool soil between my fingers like a promise of growth. "You're our little green thumb," Dad would say, ruffling my hair as I showed him my radishes. Emily was the family's star, her dance recitals and school plays packing our calendar, her trophies gleaming on the living room shelf, while my garden projects earned quick nods, but no spotlight. "Emily's got that sparkle," Mom would gush after her performances, her voice bright, while my backyard veggie patch got a fleeting nice job, lore, before talk turned to her next audition or Jake's game. High school deepened my love for the earth. I joined the environmental club, transforming a neglected school lot into a small vegetable garden, teaching classmates to compost food scraps and plant lettuce, their excitement as sprouts emerged fueling my own. It was fulfilling hauling mulch, sharing harvests with the cafeteria, seeing kids taste their first homegrown carrots, but college loomed, and my parents pushed practical paths. "Gardening's sweet, Lauren, but what about a real career?" Dad said over dinner, his fork pausing over Mom's mashed potatoes. "You need stability." I compromised, enrolling at Boise State University to study library science, drawn to organizing knowledge like Mom, drawn to the quiet order of bookshelves. To cover textbooks, I worked part-time at the campus bookstore, ringing up students and sneaking reads of ecology journals between shifts. At 23, I married my high school sweetheart, Ethan, a kind-hearted biology major with dreams of working for the Forest Service. But our marriage unraveled after 5 years, clashing visions over kids and careers, his wanderlust pulling him away, leaving me single but stronger, my roots deeper for it. Now 34, I work as a library assistant at the Boise Public Library, shelving books, running story times for toddlers, my days filled with the soft rustle of pages and the chatter of kids discovering Dr. Seuss. On weekends, I run a community garden project at a local park, a quarter-acre plot I revived with grants I wrote on lunch breaks and volunteer help from neighbors, teaching kids sustainable gardening, planting carrots and peas, building compost bins from scrap wood, watching their faces light up as worms wriggled in the soil or sunflowers stretched tall. It's my passion, a way to give back to Boise, but my family? They downplayed it. Just a hobby, Emily said at family dinners, her marketing job at a Boise startup the real achievement, her stories of client pitches dominating conversation while my garden updates got polite smiles. The community garden was my heart's work. It started 3 years ago when I noticed a weedy park lot near the library, abandoned and full of potential. I pitched the idea to the city: free workshops for kids, sustainable practices, a space for community, and spent months writing grant applications, my laptop humming late into the night after work, my coffee going cold as I revised budgets. The city approved $5,000, enough for seeds, tools, and raised beds. Weekends became a blur of labor, clearing rocks and weeds, hauling soil in my beat-up hatchback, teaching kids to sow beans while dodging their muddy hands, their laughter mixing with the hum of bees and the chirp of sparrows. Parents thanked me with homemade cookies. Kids brought me dandelions they picked, and the garden bloomed, tomatoes ripening red, kale flourishing green, a trellis of snap peas kids loved to snack on straight from the vine. I named it Grow Together, a nod to community and hope, a place where kids learn to nurture the earth and each other. The mayor noticed, announcing a community award at the annual town hall meeting, praising Lauren's project in the city newsletter for feeding families and teaching sustainability. I was thrilled, my heart swelling as I imagined my parents and Emily finally seeing my impact, maybe even joining a workshop to plant with us. I invited them, texting Emily a photo of the garden in bloom. "It's a big deal. Please come to the town hall." She replied, "Sounds fun, I'll try." Mom and Dad called, their voices warm. "Wouldn't miss it, honey." So proud. I prepared a short speech, practiced it in my apartment's mirror, my cat Juniper purring on the couch, my voice shaky but proud as I memorized lines about community and growth. The town hall was a whirlwind, the community center packed with neighbors, gardeners, and kids from my workshops, their parents snapping photos with their phones. I stood in the back, nervous but excited, wearing my favorite green sundress, the one I'd worn when planting the garden's first seeds, its hem still faintly stained with soil. The mayor opened with a speech, praising the garden's impact. Grow Together has fed families, taught our kids, united our community in ways we couldn't imagine. I waited for my name, my speech folded in my pocket, ready to step forward and share my journey. But then, the surprise, my parents and Emily strode to the microphone, uninvited, their faces beaming with confidence I didn't recognize. Mom spoke first, her voice carrying, "We're so proud to have inspired this garden, from our backyard plots to Lauren's little project." Dad added, "It's a family vision. Karen's green thumb started it all." Emily, in her polished blazer, chimed in, "I told Lauren to make it kid-friendly. That's why it's such a hit. The crowd clapped, the mayor shook their hands, and my heart plummeted like a stone into the Boise River. They hadn't lifted a shovel, hadn't attended a single workshop, hadn't even visited the garden, yet they claimed it all. In a post-meeting interview with the Boise Weekly, Emily doubled down, calling my work just a hobby, saying, "I suggested the kids angle, Lauren ran with it." I stood frozen in the back, my speech crumpled in my sweating palm, hurt crashing over me like a wave. I'd done everything: wrote grants, cleared weeds, taught kids, stayed up late planning, yet they stole the spotlight without a second thought. Driving home through Boise's quiet streets, juniper curled in my lap, I cried, the city lights blurring through tears. Was my work so invisible that my own family could erase it? The betrayal fueled a fire I didn't know I had. That weekend, alone in my apartment with rain pattering on the windows, the scent of my lavender candle mixing with the damp air, I sifted through photos on my phone, hundreds of garden moments. Me hauling mulch at dawn, time-stamped 6:03 a.m. Kids planting carrots with me, their muddy smiles captured mid-laugh. Parents' emails praising Ms. Lauren's lessons, thank you cards from kids scrawled with "I love gardening." I built a public archive on the city's website and Instagram, titled "Grow Together, Lauren's Journey," uploading photos with captions, 3 years, 500+ hours, my heart in the soil. I included volunteer logs, grant emails, testimonials from families, each piece evidence of my labor. I shared it with the community, tagging the mayor and local papers, my hands trembling but resolute. At the next town meeting, I requested a slot to speak, my stomach in knots as I stood before the same crowd, projector glowing behind me. "This is my work," I said, voice steady despite my racing heart, clicking through photos of me teaching, planting, sweating. From grants to harvests, I built Grow Together. It's not a hobby, it's my legacy. The crowd erupted in applause, parents cheering, kids waving from the back, shouting, "Ms. Lauren." Neighbors turned to my family in the front row, questions sharp, "Where were you when she was digging?" I partnered with a local elementary school to expand the program, naming it Lauren's Grow Together program, adding after-school workshops and a new plot, funded by community donations that poured in after my presentation. The surprise came when the community rallied. My archive went viral in Boise. Local gardeners shared it. The Idaho Statesman ran a feature, "Local Woman's Garden Transforms Community." Cousins reposted, "Give Lauren credit," sparking heated family chats. My parents and Emily, stung by public backlash, called a family meeting at their house. "Mom," eyes teary, said, "we were wrong, honey. We didn't see your work. We're so proud." Dad, his voice gruff, admitted, "Thought it was small. Didn't realize how much you did." Emily, fidgeting with her coffee mug, confessed, "I was jealous of your passion, Laure. I wanted the spotlight." The apologies were raw, healing. I set a firm rule: no more sidelining. Support me or step back. They agreed, and ties rebuilt. Mom volunteered at a workshop. Dad donated tools. Emily shared my archive online. The garden became a Boise legacy, kids planting with me, my confidence rooted deep. From sidelined volunteer, I grew into a leader, my legacy blooming in soil I tilled. The satisfaction? A garden recognized as mine, a community that sees me. As Maya Angelou once said, "You may not control all the events that happen to you, but you can decide not to be reduced by them. In overlooked efforts, decide to bloom. It changes everything." Thank you, from a heart that's taken root, for listening to my story of stolen credit and reclaimed growth. If it inspired you, like, share, subscribe for more tales of finding your soil. Your support nourishes us. Together, we grow stronger communities. Until next time, plant your seeds.